Stephen Smith. I'm with Christian Leadership Partners. We provide leadership solutions for both profit and nonprofit organizations through coaching, teaching, and mentoring. What we want to do is provide you with the leadership tools necessary to make your organization that much better. Whether that's developing your own leadership skills or developing the skills of your subordinates underneath you, we know that your organization can become that much better. We want to provide you with those tools necessary to accomplish that. So some of the tools available are these free leadership lessons that we're providing for you. What we've done is we've provided you with a free 30-day leadership lesson that looks at the kings of Israel. Well, why would we do that? Well, there's three reasons, really. The first reason is that they give us an example of what good leadership looks like and bad leadership. And if I know what good leadership looks like, then I can model the behavior of the good leaders and I can throw out the behaviors of the bad leaders. The other thing is that I've got a historical record of the planning, preparation, execution phases and what the results of those things were in a historical record in the Bible. So if I look in the Bible, I can find out what they did and what the results of what they did were. And if I see things that they succeeded in, then I know that I can do the exact same thing as a leader. If I see things that they failed in, then I want to make sure that I avoid those things as well. So the Bible gives us a great perspective of how we can utilize the historical record to become better leaders. The third thing that we want to do is we want to take a look at servant leadership, and that's what we're doing here today. This is the fourth bonus day of our training, and what we're looking at is how did Jesus Christ lead as a servant leader? Here's a definition of what servant leadership really is. The servant leadership style is based on the idea that leaders prioritize serving the greater good. Leaders with this style serve their team and organization first. They don't prioritize their own objective. Employees in a servant leadership environment are more likely to feel that their voices are heard. So what we want to do is we want to go through 5 different areas that Jesus Christ led in and how he developed not only himself but also his subordinates underneath him. Now we're using 5 C's here, and I hope that you got a good understanding of what we did when we looked at character development, communication, and conceptual thinking. What we want to look at today is how is our commitment to growth looking? What we want to do is we want to make sure that we're committed to growth. If I were to ask you what your growth plan is, could you tell me? Could you say, how am I getting better? If I know how I'm getting better, then I know that I can succeed where others are failing. Because a lot of people just don't have a clue. They go out and they just throw things against the wall, and whatever sticks, that's what they do for that day. But if I have a continual growth pattern where I'm going through and I'm improving myself by listening to tapes or DVDs or listening to a YouTube on the way into work or reading a book at night or spending an hour writing or journaling, if there's something that I'm doing that I can make myself better, then you know what's going to happen? You're going to get better. And that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that we have this commitment to growth. So Jesus had a commitment to growth, not only for himself, but also for his subordinates or for his disciples. John 14:12 says, "The person who trusts in me will not only do what I'm doing, but even greater things, because I'm on my way to the Father and am giving you the same work to do that I've been doing. You can count on it." You see, a leader isn't just somebody who has subordinates underneath them. A leader is somebody who develops other leaders and replaces themselves. So what we want to do is, as leaders, is replace ourselves, and that way we can move up to the next level. But as we move up, we're bringing people up along with us. And if I'm developing people underneath me, and if I'm committed to their growth, then I know that I can make sure that I'm developing them professionally and personally, and that they're growing and becoming even better leaders, maybe even better leaders than what I am. Maybe they can be more successful than how you are. And who gets the glory for that? Well, you'll get some of the glory for that as well, because you were the one that trained them. So that's what we really want to do, is we want to make sure that we're bringing people up along with us, and our commitment to growth has to be more than just commitment to us, but I also want to make sure that I'm committing myself to my subordinates and helping them to become better as they progress as well. So Mark 4:20 tells us, "And the seed that fell on good soil represents those who hear and accept God's word and produce a harvest 30, 60, or even 100 times as much as has been planted." So we have to take a look at this parable, and if you're familiar with the Bible, you can see that this parable was really all about the Word of God and how it develops in our lives. But we can do the same thing with our own professional development. What is your heart like? You know, it talked about seed that fell on the wayside and how it was just cast aside, and if people didn't care about it, it wasn't really any good to them anyway. And then there's the other seed that sprung up, and then all of a sudden it met difficulties and trials, and then it just wilted away. And then the third seed got distracted by all the cares of this world, but the fourth seed, it produced this benefit. And it's all about the ground that it was a part of. And because the roots were able to go down and grab into something, we want to make sure that we're providing the soil necessary for our subordinates to grow, as well as for us to grow as well. So John 15:5 tells us, "Yes, I am the vine, you are the branches. Those who remain in me and I in them will produce much fruit, for apart from me you can do nothing." See, your subordinates can't do anything without you. And if our subordinates can't lead, if they can't put together a common sentence, if they can't produce for the organization, then the organization is pretty much worthless. But they're going to be a part of what it is that you're doing. So that's why you want to bring them into your organization, into your wheelhouse, so to speak, and start trusting a little bit more, giving them a little bit more responsibility, making sure that you're there to help train them and produce something really good in their lives, because you will be a part of that branch that they're a part of. The stronger that you are and the more nourishment that you provide for them, the greater their commitment to growth and achievement is actually going to be. So that's what we want to do as leaders. We want to make sure that we're providing them the things that they need to be able to make sure that they're going to be as successful as they possibly can be. So if we go on and read Mark 12:30, it says, "And you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength." Now we're talking about a lot of commitment here as far as commitment to God, but our commitment to growth has to be the same way. You know, he hits three different parts of our body parts. It's our body, soul, and our spirit. And we as in our body, our soul, and our spirit have to make sure that we have got a commitment to growth, that we're all in this aspect. If I'm not all into growth, then I'm not going to grow at all. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I can follow the growth patterns that I have set before me, and that I'm committed to it. And if I'm committed to it, and if I'm loving it the same way that I'm loving God with every part of my being, then I should be able to be committed to my own growth in every part of my being as well. So what we want to do is we want to take a look at two different questions that will help us to grow in our abilities as leaders and as far as our commitment to growth goes. So I encourage you to write down these questions. You can download a copy of the notes down below or record this session if you want, but I really encourage you to ask yourself these two key questions that are going to help you in your commitment to growth. Now, the first question that we have is, what elements within your organization can you grow? So what's your responsibility to grow within your organization? Is it your team? Have you been given hiring responsibilities? Have you been given the ability to be able to develop your own leaders? These are all things that we want to find out for ourselves. And once I identify these things, now I know that these are the things that I can nourish as a leader so that they can grow. If I don't know what these things are, they're just going to die on the side. The second question that I have for you is, how do you assist your organization in its growth process? You know, you could ask me that question and I could give you several different ideas, but I want you to think about how you can assist in this process. Because once you understand this concept, and once you're able to start continuing to let your organization grow or helping your organization to grow, then you're going to understand the growth process within it. The greater that you understand that growth process, the greater effect you're going to have as you continue to grow things within your organization. So I hope that these videos have been a help for you. Remember, tomorrow is our last day of the free bonus material. I encourage you to subscribe over here and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any one of these videos. But in the meantime, take all these tools, gather them together, and go out and be that leader that you're meant to be.